Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a rapper from South Florida. Now, this rapper from South Florida seems like he was on his grind. He was working his way up into the music industry, and that was brought to a close or to an end by tragedy. This rapper by the name of Baby Cino, repping that South Florida, seems like he had ran into a little bit of trouble, man. He got locked up, he was in jail, things happen, right? What wasn't expected is, once he bonded out of jail, he was allegedly gunned down on the highway, man. Now, this story is crazy, and I'm going to be reading the report about what they feel happens and what they know happened for a fact. But before we get to the specifics, y'all do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Baby Cino and what went down in Florida this week, man. Now, this is a crazy story, like I said, man. Not too many times do you hear about somebody getting shot leaving jail. I mean, I know when you cover Chicago drill artists like I do, I've heard it several times now, and I'm still shocked when I hear it. But for a South Florida rapper, you usually don't hear about things like this, even though it seems like in the whole rap industry, it's been turned up everywhere. There's crazy stories in Miami. There's crazy stories in Atlanta. There's crazy stories all in California, and that's all from top to bottom. Stockton, I'm talking about the Bay Area, I'm talking about LA definitely, and then you got New York and you got Brooklyn. But man, some of the wildest stories do come out of the state of Florida, and this is one of them. Now, this story from the Miami Herald says it all in the headline. It says Miami rapper known as Baby Cino murdered on Palmetto minutes after leaving jail. Minutes after leaving jail. So they mean it was a very short while, because if it was half an hour, they would have said that. If it was a full hour, they probably would have said that too. Now, the story starts off by saying this. Timothy Starks, a 20-year-old rapper known as Baby Cino, walked out of a Miami-Dade jail on Wednesday afternoon after posting bond on a gun charge. Minutes later, as the red Nissan he was riding in turned on Palmetto Expressway, he was suddenly ambushed by a gunman in another car in a wild daylight shooting in the middle of traffic. Now, this is wild. For somebody to risk getting caught in broad daylight outside of a jail where you know there's officers nearby and stuff like that, they really had an issue with Baby Cino, man. I don't know what it was about. I don't know who he was into it with or what he was affiliated with or anything like that, or even if he was affiliated with anything at all, man. It's no clues out there, right? There's a lot of rumors out there, but nobody knows anything for sure. Now, the story continues by saying Starks died in the hell of gunfire, shot in the head. He was wearing the wristband given to inmates at Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center. So they're saying he had on his prison wristband still. He was so fresh from coming to jail, man. He still hadn't ripped that off or cut it off or anything, right? Now, the story continues by saying Miami-Dade police on Thursday publicly identified Starks and a friend who's picked him up from jail. Dante Collins Banks, 20 years old, who also was wounded in the attack. Detectives have not identified a suspect, but did say a dark-colored vehicle was seen fleeing the area at a high rate of speed. It's always a dark-colored vehicle, ain't it? It's either a dark-colored vehicle, like that's always the description, man, originally, until they find out the exact color or whatever, or make and model of the car, right? Now, the story also says the shooter fired at least 40 times. Stop right there. So they're saying he was shot in the head, and that's how he lost his life, Baby Cino. But the shooter fired at the car 40 times? 40 times? Like, that says a lot, man. Like, there's a possibility this could have been an accidental shooting, yeah. But when you have something like that, somebody shot 40 times, that's almost a message. You see what I'm saying? Like, every time you see that in hip-hop, especially with him already leaving the jail, that sends a message too. That's like, whoever's with you, like, let it be known it's anywhere. And then in broad daylight, this is definitely an ambush and message shooting. You know what I mean? Now, the story continues by saying that multiple law enforcement sources say the shooting is being probed for links to a series of public ambushes in recent months believed connected to Miami street gangs. Now, they're talking about the fact that there's been other rappers and other people of high profile in the hip hop scene who have been shot as well in kind of these high profile ambush shootings, man, like in broad daylight. It's wild. But let's continue. It says that includes the January ambush murder of rapper Wavy Pooh, who was shot to death in a car near Zoo, Miami, and the murder of Breonna Sutherland, who was ambushed while driving on Interstate 95 on Valentine's Day. Investigators do not believe she was the intended target. So this is wild, man. And man, ever since I seen that scene in that TV show, Atlanta, like you gotta watch who you let use your car, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. You definitely, especially the ladies out there, don't just be letting anybody use your car, especially if they're into some street stuff or something like that. Like, because when somebody knows that car and they associate it with that person, they're gonna sometimes just believe that person is in that car. And that's how some of these things go down, right? Now, Wavy Pooh, I did the video about him as well, and that was a similar shooting as this one, right? Now, it also says that as for Starks, he was associated with a Little Haiti area gang known as Boss Life, according to one source. So they're saying he was associated with this group or this gang allegedly called Boss Life. And sometimes these things are wrong, so you don't know if that's a gang for real or that could be a rap group or anything. Now, online, where many local rappers can rise to fame quickly, Starks did not have a major presence. His main song, entitled Big Haiti Shot Us, features him and a crew rapping about violence at an apartment building on Northwest 3rd Avenue and 56th Street. Now, I'm not sure if that's a real tough area or whatnot, but they made it a point to put that in the story, so it must have some type of significance. Now, they go on to talk about how much the video was watched, and at that time, it was like 21,000 views. Now it's like closer to 40,000 views, right? Now, Starks had been arrested in Opelika on Tuesday night by members of Miami-Dade Police Robbery Intervention Detail Unit. So it looks like there's a robbery division or unit, and that's who picked him up on Tuesday when he was arrested. So he bonded out pretty quickly if he was bonding out the next day on Wednesday. Now, according to the arrest report, it seems like Baby Cino was pulled over originally in Opelika Boulevard, and he was pulled over for having an obstructed tag, right? Now, when he was in the car, the police report said that he was looking like he was obstructing something or trying to hide something that was shaped like a firearm. And once they searched the car, they found a fully loaded Glock 32. Now, according to jail records, Starks was booked into TGK just before 2 a.m., and Wednesday, after posting bond, he was recorded as released at 2:10 p.m. So about 12 hours behind bars, to be real. The shooting happened within an hour, starting on Palmetto near Hialeah, with the Nissan slamming into a concrete barrier wall. So it looks like as the car was getting shot up, they lost control of the vehicle as well. Investigators are now trying to determine if Starks and Banks were followed from jail and how the attackers knew they were being released. And a lot of people are nervous about that these days, I noticed, especially a lot of rappers and stuff. Like, they don't want their real name out there. They don't want their information out there because of stuff like this. Because, you know, if you have an enemy or something like that, and there's somebody who's in the jail, can see you leaving the jail, or somebody, you know, God forbid, works at the jail and tells, you know, your enemies that you're leaving, they'll know that you're there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they'll have a perfect place to meet you when normally they'd have to be guessing out here in the streets, right? But this is a tragedy all around the board. Sad to see this, man. So rest in peace to Baby Cino, and all condolences to his family. But what do you guys think about this story? Does it sound like a setup or something like that? Or do you feel like it definitely had to be a setup? Because how else would they know he was being released from jail at that time? But regardless, man, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.